Here we are, set up for Like Cain and Abel, a two-player trick-taking game with some bluffing elements. For setup, you're going to randomly choose a start player or use a method you prefer. They will get the other player will get the last act token, and they will be the dealer. Each person gets a face-down card that they will not look at. This is their offering basket, and you'll put a face-down card in the middle, turned thusly without looking at. This is the offering stone, and you'll put on the offering token. Now this side will correspond to red. This is yellow. This is a blood offering, and this is the harvest offering. So once all the cards are dealt out, the non-dealer will be gaining an extra card in the first round, and in all future rounds, if there's an extra card, the non-dealer gets it. Everyone then is going to, or both players are then going to choose a favor token randomly from the face down ones, and they will look at it. You do not show your opponent. Favor tokens have two abilities. This favor token means your card will score at the end of the game. This one means that your card is worthless. Each player is then going to be making a covenant, which means they're going to be looking at their hand. They're going to choose a card that they wish to try and win at the end of the round. And then they will tuck it. So let's say I want to go for this one. Then they choose, do they want to go for harvest or blood? Say we go for blood. You're going to put this underneath so your opponent doesn't see it, and so it's covered with the side you want to go for, pointing towards the offering stone. The opponent will do the same thing. They'll stick that under. You are then going to choose if you want to boast. If you boast, you're going to put your token on either side of the card. You're going to be attempting to win the most tricks of that, or the most cards of that type. However, it also does need to match your covenant in order to win the last act token, but you do not have to boast the color that you are going for. Now, starting with the person who does not have the final act token, they are going to play a card from their hand. These are double-sided with your harvest offering and your blood offering. So they will play this card. Your other player will then look at their hand, and they need to play higher if they are able to. They do not need to follow color. They can play either side as long as it is higher. So they'll play an 11. If you cannot play higher, you play a card face down. Comes back to the other player to play a third card. All tricks are 3 cards. They have 2 options now. They can play a card that's higher than that card, or they can choose to play a card face down. We'll say they play face down. This player wins the trick. They are going to grab the cards and put them in the orientation of which they were played. So this was a blood one. This was a harvest. Any face down cards get discarded. Whoever lost the trick leads the next trick. You are going to go back and forth until someone runs out of cards in their hand, in which case the round ends immediately. If there is an open trick at that time, that stays present, and that will be the first trick in the following round. Once the round ends, each person will reveal their covenant. If they have won more cards of that type than their opponent and more than the other type, then they'll put it over in a scorer. So they'll put that over there. They'll take their token and they'll cover up the value that is not going to be scored. So they would do the same. If they won it, there we go. We then check to see if someone successfully boasted. In order to successfully boast, you need to have made the boast at the start of the round, have revealed the covenant type to be the same type as your boast, and have won enough cards to score points for that round. So if this was the blue player and they did that, they would have scored. However, if the green player would have also been able to do that, you then go to a tiebreaker. All tiebreakers are done the same. You look at the relevant cards and count up the flame symbols on them. You play over 5 rounds, in which case 2 of these will be left and won't be revealed. At the end of the 5 rounds, before flipping over the tokens, whoever has the final act token can place that on one of their opponent's cards. That card will not count for scoring. Everyone will then reveal their tokens. At the points, most points wins. Alright, so that was a brief overview of how to play Like Cain and Abel. I will be up front. When I first read the rules, it did seem a little confusing, maybe a little wonky, but once you sit down, deal it out, play a hand or two, then the rules really start clicking and making sense. So this is one that you kind of need to really kind of look at and play to understand. But once you do, it is an interesting little thing in just a little box. That whole bluffing element with the trick taking, the fact that there are no suits to follow, but you still want to try and get certain colors because you want to be able to possibly score your offering. The boasting, that's where kind of that bluffing comes in, is you have, in order to get that final act token, you have to boast on the offering that you are covenant with. Well, I'm going to boast on the blood harvest, but I'm not going to try and win blood harvest, but now my opponent thinks I do, so now they're going to try and take my blood harvest cards away from me so that I can't score my final card. Or maybe I get the out of favor tokens, like card's not going to score anyway, so I bluff and have them kind of really go one way as I go the other because I don't need to score that card. Or maybe I'm going to say I'm going to go for that card. It's not going to score me, so I'm going to score, so I put a low value card, but they think that's not worth that many. So if they do have that final act, they put on a higher one that I wasn't going to score anyways because I bluffed. That is the in your head that you can get with your opponent in this game. So even though it is only 18 little cards, very basic trick taking of just basically almost like ladder climbing, just trying to play a higher number. That's where that dynamic of, well, I know that you know that I might know that you don't know that I know, with the whole knowledge of you knowing that I know type of stuff. So that is the cool aspect of it. That boasting is kind of like declaring a number tricks in euchre, bridge. I'm not up on my trick-taking games. That's more the bride's element. But she seemed to like this. A lot of two-player trick-taking games she's not a fan of because they usually try and add too much of a swerve and too much of an issue in them of where you maybe don't want to win all the tricks, or maybe you want to win this many but not that one. And this one does a good job of kind of managing that to where they don't put that much craziness on top. Yeah, you might not want the card that the opponent did. All right, well, what can you do? I'll just play a face-down card and discard because I don't want to play that card anyways. Or, all right, you take it. Well, now I'll make sure that I can win the next one to counteract that. So, Like Cain and Abel, definitely an interesting addition to the trick-taking genre that has taken off as of late. I am the Groom from Merry Meeples, asking you to go ahead and like, subscribe, comment, share, and ring the bell for the videos down below. Also check down below for the Kickstarter link if this game interests you.